How many people does it take for there to be a critical mass that will affect political and social change in this country? How many people do we have to get on the streets to make some changes? Actually, there was a Harvard political science who came up with that number, and that number is 3.5% of the population. Erica Chenoweth was the political science at Harvard, and she studied historically case examples of successful protests and how many people were needed out in the streets for the changes to come. And that number, again, is 3.5% of the population. In the United States, we've got, say, 354 million people. And so if we had 3.5% of those people take to the streets en masse, non-violent protest en masse, general economic strike en masse, then 3.5% of our population would be just over 12 million people. If we could get 12 million people, 15 million, or even 20 million people to all take to the streets on a general economic strike this year, that would be enough to shift the consciousness of the general population. While it is true that, a secret police force might shoot thousands of us or might imprison tens or even 100,000 of us, a secret police force, the Army, other U.S. people are not going to shoot 12 million, 15 million, or 20 million of us. There's an energetic consciousness to it that just makes it impossible. And that's why when you get this critical mass of people to show up, it's like this 100th monkey thing. As soon as the 100th monkey starts doing something, all of a sudden, all the monkeys start doing the same thing or start thinking the same way. It's why it's the critical mass is when you get a minimum amount of people thinking and acting the same way, it shifts the zeitgeist. Energetically, the consciousness of the entire population shifts. So as we think ahead this year to future protests, another No Kings protest, as we think to setting up and getting ready for a general economic strike, what we need to do is get enough of us in the streets to make it happen. So that needs to be a minimum of 12 million people. 15 million people would be incredible. 20 million people would be crazy. And again, this is not just some random theory. This is based on historical studies. I like to look to the country of Turkey in the Middle East as a very good example of where protests have worked. At the time in the year 2013, there was these Gezi Park protests, and you can look it up yourself. Gezi, G-E-Z-I, protests, Gezi Park protests in Turkey. Check it out for yourself. It's a perfect case study. They had, of that population, 4.4% of the population just took to the streets, and it changed things politically, economically, and culturally. And if we could get 4% of the population to show up in the streets, we'd have similar results here. As I've been saying, and I'll remind you again, left versus right politics is a bunch of bullshit. We don't have a left versus right problem in this country. We don't have a Democrat versus Republican problem in this country. The problem we have is a top versus bottom problem. We've got 1% at the top, the people who own most of the resources and the wealth in this country, the people who over the course of the entire history of the U.S. have again and again grabbed for the levers of power in this country. People who've got the money and the resources in their pockets are not happy with it, and they want more money, they want more resources, and they want more power to control and do whatever crazy plans they've got. And it is a crazy plan to try to amass more resources, more wealth, and more power when you've already got it, number one. And number two, the truth is there's enough food, there's enough water, there's enough land, there's enough air, there's enough solar electricity available for everybody on this planet. And it's just this crazy survivalist, monkey, reptilian thinking that we've got that somehow just can't get enough. 3 billion in my bank account's not enough. 3 billion acres is not enough. I need to own more and more. It's just, it's part of the human disease. And yeah, we're all part of it. And so when great enough numbers of us take to the streets, we're going to start shifting the thinking of all of us. So as we look forward to the next protest, as we look forward to this year, a general economic strike, which is going to happen, start planning now. What are you going to do if the government turns off your cell phone and the internet, which would be an obvious first response by the government to a massive protest? What are you going to do if the electricity is turned off? What are you going to do if your water is turned off? Start thinking about these things now. And also, a general economic strike is going to be effective if it's done in a decentralized manner. If you got me or some other person or some group as the central organizing force, all you got to do is arrest those people and throw them away in detention, and then you've got no protest, you've got no mass movement of the people. What you and I need to do now is to plan ahead for when the time comes. Am I ready? Do I have a backup source of water in mind? What am I going to do when my cell phone and internet get shut off? What am I going to do if there's no food in the stores? How am I going to ensure my own survival while we shut the economy down for a month? So it's time to plan ahead for that. And when I talk about decentralized planning, that's what worked in Turkey. Those 4.4% of the entire population, there were protests over 5,000 different locations. The leadership was decentralized. What I'm saying to you is, you are the leader. Start thinking now. Start planning now. Talk to your friends now. And when the time comes, you're going to know when it's time to take to the streets. Don't assume that your internet's going to be on, that your cell phone's going to be working. Don't assume that someone's going to tell you what to do and when to do it. The time is for you and I now to study, prepare, and when it's time to take the streets, we're going to take the streets. 12 million, 15 million, 20 million of us, and that's how we're going to affect change in this country through a peaceful, nonviolent process that's going to include left and right, Democrats, Republicans, socialists, libertarians. I don't care what your political blah-de-blah is. What we're doing is the 99% of us are going to take control of this country back from the 1% who successfully took control of it from us. Talk to you guys later.